Today I'm going to show you a little bit about coloring in your stamped images. So first you want to make sure that you have a good fade resistant ink pad, and I recommend Memento ink pads. This is London Fog that I've used, so it's a little bit more subtle than a black ink pad, but Memento also has a black and a brown, so you can get whichever one you like for your lines. I happen to like the gray. So I stamped my image on my Copic paper, and now I'm going to start coloring him in. So the first thing you want to think about after you've stamped your image is where's your light source coming from, because that's going to be determining where you're going to shade in your image a little bit darker. So I'm going to use this yellow marker to be my light source, and so my light's going to come in from the top here. So I know, let me move this down a little bit, so I know where my light's coming from. So everything on this side of my stamped image is going to be a little bit lighter than the things on the opposite side. So it looks like this is the sun shining down. It'll make more sense when I start shading here. So the first thing I want to do is color his coat. And I'm going to use B95 and B97 to color in his jacket. So I'm going to start with my lighter color and just color in the whole thing with a flat coat. So I'm going to use my super brush tip and just go in circular motions. Make sure you get everything coated in. And it's okay if you go outside the lines, because we've got a colorless blender and we can help push the color back inside the image. There's little teeny tiny detail spots right here. Got to be careful going around his little neckerchief. So now we've got a pretty even coat there. I'm going to move this and look on the back side. And you can see the back is very saturated with color. We know we've done a pretty good job coloring in our image. We'll put our sun right back where it goes so you can see it. And now I'm going to take the darker shade. These are the two shades I'm working with right now. So the B97. And I'm going to shade the opposite from where my light source is coming. So it's going to be this side of his body. I'm going to give him just a little bit of shading. And then I'm going to shade on the lines in his little outfit. Okay. Next I'm going to go back with my first color, my lighter color, B95, and blend in where I just colored, so we don't have as much of a stark line as we do right now. You just want to keep going over your same area to get it all blended in. go back in and smooth things out with our colorless blender. I went outside the lines just a teeny tiny bit, so I'm going to use this medium broad tip and just push the color back in until it gets where I want it to be. It takes a lot of pushing, but you'll eventually get the color back in. Alright, I went outside the lines a teeny bit right here too. Oh, the colorless blender just kind of makes that disappear. And now, since we have our light source up at the top here, I'm going to take my colorless blender and get rid of a little bit of color on his sleeve since I don't have a lighter color. Just going to take some of the color away. And then take my lighter color and blend it a little bit more, so that that doesn't stand out quite as much. So there you've learned the basics of shading with your light source.